As we know, fostering community is a complex endeavor. It requires dedicated work by people who know, as Katie mentioned, how to collaborate, innovate, connect, and change. No one knows that better than our keynote speaker. And Simmons is a perfect venue for this conversation. Again, as Katie mentioned, we're a small women's college in an urban environment, and we're located in the heart of the medical capital of the world. So our keynote speaker, Bill, was a newlywed and spray painter at a factory when he moved into Codman Square in Dorchester as a 19-year-old. The neighborhood was the line between the black and white community, and it was literally burning down amid racial tension and disinvestment. The subject of Bill's talk is how he and a group of residents used the creation of a health center as the tool to rebuild a community. The success of the Codman Square Health Center has made it a model of innovation for other communities. Please join me in welcoming Bill Walsack to Simmons.
For the most part, the people who are here spent years getting degrees so you could be certified as essentially a do-gooder, right? And you're out in the world dealing with problems which seem overwhelming, working in bureaucracies which sometimes defy logic and common sense, working under regulations that sometimes do the opposite of their intent. I'm here to say that we can make our world better, working within the system, but we need to think differently about how we use it. The title of today's Professional Day, Fostering Communities, Collaboration, Innovation, Connection, Change, is all about thinking differently. 1965, the first health center in America was launched in Dorchester at the Columbia Point Housing Project. And there were a few that had come along at the time, and these were things that, the community groups could figure out how to do. It was one of the rare things. In the 1960s and early 70s, we decided to rechristen the crime problem or the violence problem as a public health issue, right? We're a healthcare center. This is a public health issue. Let's deal with it from a medical perspective. What could we do about violence? It was the #1 issue facing people in that community in those days, and still is, frankly. So community organizing, getting out there, helping people create their own crime watches and block clubs and, social capital, developing social capital, essential on this. It was just, the health center had more capacity. We're a nonprofit organization that had a chief financial officer and a chief executive officer and various people there that could be used as infrastructure to add other things onto it, add other programs onto it, to do things. It was a tool to be used to broaden the scope of what could happen. So, so at the year 2000, and just to skip forward another decade, what do we have? Lots of medical care, 100,000 visits, dental, eye care, behavioral health, radiology, public health, civic engagement programs, getting people to register to vote 7 days a week at the health center, earned income tax credit, financial literacy programs, all sorts of adult education programs, all sorts of things that are really important as glue to hold communities together. Neighborhood council and Bold Teens. Bold Teens was a group of mainly girls, but some boys, that took on the pharmacy industry. I mean, it's pretty amazing to think about this group that went to the city and got cigarettes banned from all pharmacies in Boston. That started with teenagers, mainly girls. And they went in there and they would stand in front of the pharmacy in Codman Square with pickets and say, stop selling cigarettes, they're bad for you. Daily Table, opening in April. This is rather controversial, but frankly, I've been behind this from the beginning. It's about taking expiring food and creating very nutritious food and selling it at a song, selling it really, really cheaply. Reclassify the disease we were fighting as not obesity or diabetes or asthma, but poverty. What can we do through the healthcare system to deal with poverty? We're going to deal with teen pregnancy, obesity, school failure, stuff like that. We got to deal with poverty. We can't, it's not a healthcare issue. But it is a healthcare issue if you look at the World Health Organization definition. So what we did was we said poverty is the main cause of public health. Education is the most potent way to move out of poverty. A connection to education will result in more success for patients in both health and life. A school health health center combination would give tremendous opportunities for youth. And connecting healthcare to versus group, via group visits can create a pipeline for educational success. Connect a school and a health center. Actually put the school inside of a health center so that these kids, overwhelmingly of color, can go to a school where they see health professionals wandering around the halls because they're in the same hallways, where they can understand the healthcare system, where they can get health if they need it, and can they learn in a great environment that's going to allow them to see the opportunities that come from the healthcare system. You know, was it 18% of all jobs in Boston are in healthcare? Professional health professions jobs pay good middle-class wages. You want to beat poverty. The quickest way in Boston to beat poverty is to become a health professional. And so we looked at this as a great opportunity. Let's try something new. Let's try this idea of connecting the school to the health center. Ban junk food, ban sugar-sweetened beverages, you know, just a total health environment, and place that within the health center. Ideas, innovation will happen when you bring people who think differently together and get them to think together. None of the people who made the changes and made this change happen were great visionaries, and certainly none of them came with a pile of money to make these things happen. But they did have a very compelling vision for a future that solved problems, that would make the community a better place to live and provide opportunity for people. They saw the interconnectedness of the issues of housing, health, schools, and were willing to bend conventional practices, to seek help where they could find it, work with anyone who would help, think differently, and were able to change the trajectory of the community and create opportunity for families. They didn't start off thinking that healthcare was the issue. Indeed, it is not. It is poverty, but the healthcare center could be tweaked, and the healthcare system could be tweaked to both deal with health needs and foster collaboration, innovation, connections, and change, which led to a much better place of hope and opportunity. The other thing to think about, it wasn't a mass movement. You know, Codman Square is a great example of Margaret Mead's famous quote, you know, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. It's absolutely true, and in Codman Square's case, absolutely true. Small group of people. The lesson of Codman Square is that with a compelling vision, adaptable tools, good organic strategy, and hard work, positive change can happen, and we can all play a role. The opportunities for change are all around us. Thank you.